This is Coffee Number 5. I'm your host, Lara Schmoisman. Hi everyone, how are you today? We are here today with my warm coffee and so happy. So happy because we're going to talk about eternal beauty and how to find, in mythology, in all the books, all the painters, everyone was just trying to show beauty and how they will see beauty. We are surrounded by beauty. Actually, last night I went to a concert and with my son. Yes, I'm so glad my son still takes me to concerts. I enjoy going with him. But you know what? I felt so proud how far we came. There were people in so many ways and forms. And we became a lot more open on what we judge beauty. And there is a much bigger acceptance, at least here in California and Los Angeles, where I live at the time. And I felt so proud that we can all coexist and there was a respect there. But at the same time, something very unique happened to me. I was in the bathroom line because this happened. And let me pause for a second. I will tell the story, but I want our guests to be part of the story too. So I want to welcome Alec. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So we will get to you for a second, but I want to tell the story that happened to me last night actually. So I was in the bathroom line and there is this woman, she was around my age and she had a drawing of a third eye in her forehead, which was very interesting. I'm cool with it. And the girl who was after her online told her, "Oh, that eye is cute." And said, "Thank you. My daughter did it for me." And a woman, same age, like we smiled politely to each other. So the girl behind said, "Oh, is she your daughter?" Talking about me. I felt so terrible for her. What a moment. So uncomfortable. And that got me thinking the perception of this girl that she thought I was younger than the woman, that I was not younger. Uh, but are we chasing that eternal beauty all the time? And I know I do. I know that I want to feel the best I can. And what do you think, Alec?
I can very much relate. This is the whole reason why I'm in this industry. I was obsessed with the chasing eternal youth
Okay.
since a child. Just obsessed with it. I think I agree with you. It's something that is out there. We talk about the pressures of society, having to look a certain way, having to look young. This whole idea of it's not about anti-aging, it's about well-aging and all this. But underneath it all, there's this desire to keep your youth as long as possible. And I'm no psychiatrist, or psychologist, but I assume it's like the closer you are to the end of life,
Yeah.
the closer you look to the end of life is not desirable because people tend to be afraid of death, right?
Yeah.
So as much as we try to be like, oh, we're just, all wonderful, different people, and aging is a sign of like accomplishment in life, which it is.
Mm-hmm.
It is understandable why people have an issue with aging and looking, right, aging.
But let me ask you a question. Is this about eternal youth or eternal beauty?
They're
Can we say,
attached.
are they?
I think so.
Why?
Because again, not a psychiatrist, but it's the desirability of sort of, evolution and mating and health. Health is thought to come with youth, right?
Hmm.
And beauty and health are attached because when you see someone who looks healthy, that's oftentimes associated more to youth than age, because with age, health deteriorates naturally,
Do
right?
you do you think that because I see a switch in the industry, and I think we're talking a lot more about ageism, and there's some people just want uh, to live with it and say this is great and it's normal and it's healthy, which I don't 100% agree with it because I just want to feel the best I can. I mean, I'm not gonna go and change my face, but I'm gonna try to make my beauty stage or my youth stage as long as we can. So we can call it maybe longevity.
Sure, we can call it whatever anyone wants.
Okay.
And I think like my mom is 90
Mm-hmm.
and she's never done a thing.
I'm
And
sure she's gorgeous.
and she's stunning, right? And what's so stunning about her too is that she really, even though she says, I do not look like I did in my youth, and my beauty in the respect is gone, but I appreciate who I am now. And I think that's beautiful, right? She's come a long way. On the other hand,
Well,
I
I
am
think I know your mom's secret too. She might be using some sweet, sweet products out there.
sure, exactly. Yeah, she's using sweet chemistry. Let's get the plug in there.
Yeah, okay.
But it's also because she's healthy. Like, so she's, she's been a phys ed teacher and yoga teacher since the 70s, right? She's eaten raw, and healthy since the beginning of time. But there's others of us, including myself, who are much more insecure. I am just insecure about how I appear to the world, and I've worked on it. But that's what got me into this industry, is this idea of eternal beauty and eternal youth, like intermixed. I'll say some of the reasons why is because, for example, my grandmother, she was sold as a bride from Japan
Mm-hmm.
to come to Canada, actually, not the States, but Canada. And then my mom was born during the Second World War in the internment camps of Canada. When the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, and mom was put into the internment camp. So you can imagine the Japanese were not were
Yes.
not looked upon very, well back then. And so my mom grew up with this idea that a woman is sold for her beauty, right? And that for as long as she has it, she's able to be loved and taken care of and desired. But when that goes, so does the ability to be loved. So when my father left, when she was in her like mid 30s, her response was, well, it's my fault because I'm no longer beautiful as I used to be. So therefore, it's understandable that a man would leave. And that's sort of the teachings she grew up with, because a woman is only property, right? Of a
Mm-hmm.
certain value. So she told me that while it's very important what's on the inside, that she was going to sort of, tell me something I should know. That even though what's on the inside is important, that really how you look to the world is really critical, in terms of being accepted by the world and being loved. And so it's important to hold on to what you have as long as possible, right? Beauty, your appearance. And this is why I sort of had such strong insecurities, and why I went to get my degree in chemistry, because I was determined to figure out how to look as good as I can as long as I can, because I thought that's what love was tied to.
Mm-hmm.
I've since learned a lot in therapy that really that is not it.
So
That while
you're kind of a therapist then.
what
You're kind of a therapist. You said that you weren't before, but you learned so much.
I learned, yes, because my insecurities, were so. This is why I went into beauty. This is why I was marketing for Victoria's Secret Beauty. This is
Mhm.
why for Body by Victoria, I had them retouch the hell out of these models. Any little imperfection, I made sure was retouched out. And because I bought the Kool-Aid that appearances were so important, that there's this ideal that you need to reach in order to be your best, right?
And how you feel about it today?
And that was in the 90s.
Okay.
The supermodel times.
Yes.
And
I've
but
been
I was
there.
very exactly, yes, but I was very unhappy. I then went on to head up marketing for NARS Cosmetics.
Mm-hmm.
And I again bought the Kool-Aid. And then going through therapy, I realized that like my pursuit of being young looking, as attractive as you possibly can, as the first goal in life, was not making me happy. It was making me miserable. The people I was connecting with, there was no value and no meaning, right? The relationships I was having. So finally I did a bunch of therapy, and I finally learned that that while it's nice to have the outward appearance and to look great and it opens up a lot of doors and all this, that if you want any meaning in your life, that the true beauty is when you treat people with respect, you find others that feel the same, that have those values, that you are there for people when they need you and vice versa, and that you value other human beings for who they are, right? And that brings meaning and a joy in life that is unsurpassable versus just like being fabulous and looking amazing, right?
So that's how you feel today. So how was your transition, and how it affect your life, your routines, your social life, and what changes you had to make in order to get where you are today? And we're going to get where you are today in a minute.
so, so if I understand the question correctly, it was just being in the beauty industry, right? It was like the Kool-Aid wasn't tasting really good anymore. You know how we're supposed to be, people were calling me a beauty expert, right? Because I'd worked in R&D and marketing and all for decades. And the press would be like, Alec Batis, beauty expert. And I started to think to myself, if we are the beauty industry, right? And we are beauty experts after I don't know how long working in it,
Mhm.
then don't we have a responsibility to the world, to the people at
Mhm.
large, the community, to not just talk about beauty on the surface level? And I feel like the beauty industry, it's kind of like fruit and juice. I feel like the beauty industry is focused on the sugar part, the juice part of the fruit, the appearance, the outward appearance, which we all know juice is great, has lots of antioxidants, but it also has a lot of sugar and is going to make you get sick with diabetes, right?
Mhm.
And we all forget about the fiber of the fruit, right? Juice isn't the best part. It's the whole fruit with the fiber. And I feel like the same thing with beauty. We focus so much on the outside that we forgot the fiber of beauty. And
Mhm.
that to me is like, so this is why Sweet Chemistry, like we support the arts. We support young people in the arts because the arts is about all the disciplines, about expression of oneself, more than just my perfect nose and my perfect this and my perfect abs, right?
Mhm.
It's in fine arts and music and literature and learning and expanding yourself as a person is expanding your is the fiber of beauty,
Yeah.
right? So much more than just the outside. So I just sort of started to focus on parts of beauty that hadn't been expressed before in the industry.
So, do you think that when you make this switch, you had to make changes in your lifestyle, in your social life,
Oh
or
yeah.
those changes were happening organically because you had to detach yourself?
Yes. So yes, I started to make changes. I started to make changes in who I hung out with, right?
Hmm.
All of a sudden, I wasn't attracted to the same type of after the therapy, after learning that I am more than just how I look.
Hmm.
All my life, people have said, "Oh, you look, younger than you are," or "You look," and I started to equate the value of myself that way. And then through therapy, I learned that I'm much more than that, and that who I am doesn't depend on that at all. If I start looking 60 tomorrow, I'll still be beautiful. Do you know what I mean? Like as a human being with value, right?
Yeah, I when my kids were little, I remember parents being very competitive. And I realized that either I can get into that train or trying to raise the best human being they could possibly be.
Yes,
So, and I think that that happened the same with beauty. It's like you can define your own beauty and you can be the best version of yourself.
exactly. Yes. This balanced approach to it. It's just the beauty industry has never supported this balanced approach to beauty. The beauty industry usually just focuses on that one aspect of physical beauty. But
And
really, if
do
we're
you
the
think,
beauty industry,
yes,
we should be responsible to talk about everything internal as well. We should be educating ourselves and teaching that beauty is not just right skin deep. And we should really be promoting the fiber of beauty, not just the sugary juice of it.
something that I've been seeing consistently in the last few years in the beauty industry is that I see that new brands and the brands that they are successful are the ones who really has a wellness aspect.
True. Yes, I've
And
seen that too.
do you see that this is something that the beauty industry had taken from people that are demanding that, or they see it as the next trend of beauty?
So I look at, like, say, Rare Beauty, for example,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I remember when she first came out, it was all about like mental health, right? Like who you are as a person in terms of your beauty, right? And I heard that she struggled with mental health, right? And issues. And to me, it felt sincere, right? That to be talking about that when you could just be talking about the makeup, right?
Yes.
So I think there's now a communication vehicle, right? Like with social media and just more much immediate impact, right? Before, remember, it used to be to get a message to someone, it was interoffice email. You typed it on a typewriter, someone picked it up and took it to another floor and they would read it. Like communication has just gotten so much more fluid now that
Mhm.
I feel
There's
like
it's a two-way street now.
it's a two-way street now, right? So we can question things on in real time. And so I think it's a natural evolution to sort of question our thoughts about beauty and how one-dimensional it's been as an industry. And I think the world is craving for more meaning in beauty. And so this is why some brands that are speaking about that sincerely and promoting other aspects of beauty, not just looking good. Like looking good is great. Like we love to look good, right?
We do love to look
We
good,
love to look good, but
but
I
we love even more to feel good.
exactly, right? Like, and I don't think it's just about accepting our age and aging gracefully and all that. Like, I think it's also about having meaning in your life and how important that is to feel beautiful.
Mhm.
And whether that be through mental health, whether that be through your education and encouraging young people to, become artists or scientists or, promoting not just how perfect your nose or like how short your crop top is on TikTok, right? Or like being able to promote all sorts of aspects of who you are and what makes you beautiful. I think is the next. You mentioned it could be the next trend,
Mhm.
um, but when it comes to sort of meaning in terms of beauty, people can see through if it's trend driven
Mhm.
or if it's sincere, right?
I
So
think people can see both, but still, when something is very trending, people many times it's like FOMO. They cannot
yes,
not do it.
totally. Yes, exactly. It gives them permission as well
Mhm. Yeah.
to talk about other things that in the concept of beauty besides just how gorgeous my skin is.
So, Alec, I love you, what you believe and what you're talking about, but you also went ahead and created another brand in the world of beauty, which makes it really special coming from you with all your experience and to understand. And this is what I love about you, that you have a reason to bring another beauty brand into the world. And because there are so many brands that are coming to the world, and but you look at ingredients and they're all the same.
Yes.
So why you decided that it was time to bring sweet chemistry to the world, and how was it born, the idea?
Yes. Okay. So no plans on bringing sweet chemistry to the world. Are you freaking crazy? There's no way I'm going to
Yeah,
skincare line or beauty line. No way.
I
I'm
get
gonna
you on
I'm
that.
gonna consult for other brands, make my monthly retainer, and
Hmm.
then leave them Friday afternoon and
Yes,
let them worry about, everything.
but that's
Um,
so not you. Sorry, not so.
that was me until 55, right?
Okay.
And I'd seen since the 90s so many brands like do really well for 10 years, 15 years. They killed it in Sephora, this and that. They worked 24/7 and then they failed.
Mm-hmm.
And then they still had to work after that. So I was like, even if you're a success in the industry for 10 years, that doesn't guarantee you anything, right?
No.
So I decided I'm happy consulting. And the problem I had met a potential client named Xilex Bio, and they are a lab that spun out of Columbia University's lab for stem cell and tissue engineering.
Mm.
And every time I go see a new client, it's usually a cute little office in Tribeca
Hmm.
or, somewhere cute. And this time they asked me to come to their lab at the SUNY Downstate Medical Center. And it's the first time I've ever been invited to an actual, lab, right, to
Hmm.
meet a potential client. So I was like, that's interesting. And so I went, and when I got there, the first two floors were the AIDS vaccine lab, and the second two floors are the tissue engineering lab, right? And I'm thinking, oh wow, this is different, right? And even I thought, okay, if I'm going to a lab, maybe it's a beauty lab where it's like bok choy extract or a
Yeah,
asparagus
they're just
peptide,
mixing little things.
make we're kind of pulling what's trending, a mushroom peptide, something.
Hmm.
And so I thought I'll get there and it'll be whatever. It'll be a beauty lab and we'll just have fun marketing a
Yeah,
new mushroom, something or whatever, right?
yeah.
And then when I got there and I was like, they were explaining to me that they were spun out of Columbia and
Hmm.
that they were working on biomaterials for tissue engineering. So repairing lung tissue during surgery when it can get easily punctured. And so they're, making biomaterials to seal and heal punctures in lung tissue during surgery. And that with their partners at Columbia.
By the way, that's incredible.
I mean, I'm like,
That's mind blowing.
mind blowing. And in the fridges there's human organs, so I'm just like,
How did you get them to do
I was like, what?
beauty?
Well, you'll see. I was like, what is this? And then they told me that how their main project, and they're going into human trials this year, but their main project was organ rehabilitation and transplant. So in 2019, they were able to take a deceased donor lung that was too damaged for transplant. About 3 out of 4 lungs that are donated after an accident are too damaged, so they get thrown in the garbage, right? And hence long wait lists for organ transplant. So in 2019, they took a deceased damaged donor lung, and then with their partners at Columbia University, Stanford, Vanderbilt, NYU Langone, and Stevens, the team, they took the deceased donor lung and they were able to regenerate it with the biomaterials and systems within 2 days to be transplantable. And that was hailed by New York Times as a miracle, right, in clinical study. So then this year they're moving into the first human trial. So they're doing compassionate use case human trial where someone who's going to die imminently because they've been on the wait list too long and they volunteer. So this year, Alex and the academia team will do the first human trial on a lung rehabilitation and transplant. And if that works, then
Oh
they
my
move.
God, you're giving me the chills.
I mean, it's just really incredible, right? And like I was just blown away, of course. And then if those work, then they move into heart, liver, and kidney trials. And if those are successful, that would effectively wipe the organ transplant wait lists around the world, globally, so that anyone around the world will be able to get a basically get a refurbished
Yes,
organ.
organ.
Like on Amazon when you can order the refurbished version. It's
Yes,
basically that, right? So I was like, this is beautiful.
it is beautiful. It's
This
giving
is
life.
beautiful.
It's giving
Like,
the hope of life to many
yes,
people.
like I was like, this is beautiful. I really love this. And then they said, we tried to bring it to, so they said they've worked on these biomaterials, these major kind peptides that are that are extracted directly from organ tissue. These ones specifically from upcycled bovine bone. So instead of like, say, the beauty industry, where for 25 years we've had, a few synthetic peptides
Hmm.
meant to
Yes.
mimic major kind peptides.
Hmm.
In fact, when you read the brochures from 25 years ago and today in the beauty peptides, they say these peptides are meant to sort of mimic a few of the extracellular matrix kind peptides.
Hmm.
What Xilex Bio did with 8 years and $8 million in government funding, the beauty of these is that the peptide technology is funded by the government. It's
Yeah.
medical research. So I don't have to pay for any of this research. It's already being done. And they were able to extract over 315 bioactive peptides naturally derived from the upcycled bovine bone.
Okay, so how you feel like how this connected with the exosomes that today is like a trendy word?
Yes, love exosomes. In fact, Xilex works with exosomes on a daily basis, right? In
Uh-huh.
tissue engineering. So if we go to their lab, like the Wall Street Journal came to the lab, so has Forbes. And I think you had seen where they said that the science was the strongest for us out of 136 brands. It's because they were showing them how they work with exosomes.
Uh-huh.
But the interesting thing is, all over the lab, the 2 floors of SUNY Downstate Medical Center, there are several cryo freezers. This
Okay.
isn't a freezer in your kitchen. This is a freezer that's to negative 80 degrees
Yeah,
Celsius.
no, it's really cold.
Right? Really cold. And then they have these hoods and they have to like get dressed in these get-ups, right?
Uh-huh.
And they have like 20 minutes to an hour to work with them before they are nothing.
Yeah.
And so they're very sensitive, right, in terms of regenerative medicine study. And then I'm like, oh, guess what, Xilex? The beauty industry stabilized them in a package and the shelf in Sephora. And they're like, oh, no university we've ever worked with or ourselves can keep them stable at more than an hour under very, very like stringent conditions.
Extreme conditions, yeah.
Extreme, stringent, and like they can just disappear. And so they're like, oh wow, we'd really love to know how they're doing that.
Yeah.
Because Xilex is spending a lot of money on all of the cryo freezers and all the SOPs that they have to maintain in order to be able to work with these highly fragile exosomes. So I was like, and they said, oh, is that why you don't do they're like, yes, this is why. We could never stabilize it like for over an hour, and never mind in a bottle, right?
Yeah.
And so the cosmetic industry knows something more than the field of regenerative medicine, apparently, right? Um,
Apparently. Yeah.
apparently, and what Xilex explained to me was, well, I guess what you have left after an hour is the lipid sac, or what we call envelope in our industry, right? Which is basically a liposome. It's
Yeah.
basically a liposome because it doesn't have any activity, right?
Mhm.
So, and I know some brands are talking about exosomes, those envelopes, as a little bit more of a delivery system than actual signaling,
Yeah,
right?
it seems that lately there is a lot of talking about delivery systems instead of signaling for some
Right.
reason.
Yes, and that's a little bit more what Xilex thinks is happening. Although Xilex is very open to any cosmetic company that can help them get rid of the cryo freezers.
Okay. I'm sure.
They would really
I'm
love
sure.
that.
Yes, absolutely. So tell us a little more about sweet chemistry today. W- What makes it special? Why you think that and where is their place in the shelf? Who use it? Because as I'm sure you believe, this is not the line for everyone. And I think that we have enough products out there that anyone should find what is for you. So who should
Yes.
be looking for and having a great experience with sweet chemistry?
Yes. Basically, our customer is me.
Okay.
Me and my different stages of life. I guess this is the good news where it comes to, how difficult it is for a brand. And even though I feel like one of the oldest founders, right, on earth,
Mhm.
I have to
I don't
remember,
believe that.
thank you. I feel like the experience of going through all this has gotten me to the point where maybe I'll be doing this better than I would have when I was
Mhm.
younger. That's what I tell myself anyways. Um, so the difference is the reason why we exist is basically threefold. So number one is the peptide technology, right?
Yes.
It's the only peptide technology in the world, and I've asked every single law firm I can find, and every single investor's IP law firm as well,
Mm-hmm.
that stays in medicine because even the investors wanted it to be assigned to the brand, the IP, the
Mm-hmm.
technology, but this one has to stay in medicine because it's government funded for medical research.
I see.
So the technology stays in medicine, but it's perpetually licensed in cosmetics for beauty use only to sweet chemistry, right? So just the fact that this is one of those technologies that is used and studied in medicine said to me, this is something I'd never seen before and was worth bringing to the world, right? Number one. Number two was, and I was never going to come out with my own formulas, but I've used my own formulas since I left the lab. I left the lab in 95. L'Oreal switched me from R&D to marketing. At the L'Oreal Group, when I was in R&D for the first half of the 90s, I was a VA chemist. VA chemist means value analysis chemist. So in the mid 90s, L'Oreal was considering to buy Kiehl's. Kiehl's at the time was a compounding pharmacy, and they had the ultrafacial moisturizer, and it was very good. And VA chemist, what you do is you take a look. Value analysis means you take a look at potential brands or companies that were going to be bought, and you take a look at the formulas to see if you can find any cost efficiencies. Basically means bring down the cost of the formula, so when it's purchased you can make more margin on it, right?
Of course.
So which is important for a big company, right, to
Absolutely.
do.
As long as they don't deal with the quality of the product, that happens a lot also when one company is bought by another.
Well, and that's all relative, right? So you can blame me or not, but basically, I was on the team where we took a look, and then the formulation was incredible, right? Because it was done by a compound pharmacy, but we saw lots of cost savings, which means in marketing, right? You pick and choose which ingredients you want for story, and which ingredients you want for function, right?
Absolutely.
Because you only have 10% to work with in a formula to put in actives. So you have to decide what you want on the ingredient list to talk about for fun, and which ones you want to talk about in terms of claims, right? And so usually a lot of the antioxidants and some of those, they just get brought down to marketing levels. So I did the same. I brought down a bunch of them down to 0.01%. Marketing levels, just to have the label claim, and then a few of them at functional. Still a great formula, right? But the cost was much less, right? And then and that gave more margin, and they were very happy with that. And then they ended up moving me to marketing. But since that was my job, I used to make my own at lunch.
Okay.
And what I did is, because usually there's only 10% room because the rest is water and emulsifier, I brought down my water content by 30% so that I could put in functional levels of everything.
I see.
For myself.
And
right?
That's why you look amazing.
And that's why I look amazing, right? So I did that for myself. After they moved me to marketing, right, from the R&D, I didn't have the lab anymore, lunch hours. So I just would make it, at home. And for the past 35 years, I've been using functional levels of everything, right? And then I had even though I have the patent pending on those emulsions, I knew that anyone can get around them. And guess what? I encourage brands moving forward to not use marketing levels. So we claim it on our website, and I'm hoping it becomes a thing where we invite all brands to join. Let's just get rid of story ingredients.
I think that they are wonderful ingredients. As a marketer, I'm telling you, they're wonderful ingredients. As a marketer, you can make a story about those ingredients. You don't need to do makeup ingredients for stories.
Yes. And I think to use functional levels of all ingredients is something, especially if you're in skincare. Like, fine, if I'm a strawberry moisturizer, a strawberry body lotion by some brand, okay, you can just put strawberry extract at marketing level 0.01 just for story, and it's fine. But if you're in performance skincare, there's no place for marketing levels anymore. I think that we're inviting any brand to go out and claim on their website and take out story level ingredients out of their formulas and just go with the sort of functional levels. And they're welcome to get around my patent and reduce the water content and put functional levels in there, right? And then
that's very generous of you.
I think so too. And this way, I think in the world of transparency, that we live in, there's just no place for marketing levels in skincare anymore, right? So I think that's the modern, evolved approach for our industry, and I look forward to the day that everyone claims we don't use marketing levels anymore, right? But anyways, I attribute that to sort of my own formula. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is our social impact. So working with we're doing a GoFundMe because Xilex lost one of the government grants because of diversity when they were trying to hire a research scientist. It got pulled overnight, $1 million.
Oh,
And they're used to government funding only. They know nothing about the private sector. And so I'm like, oh, well, this is our social impact chance. So we're doing a GoFundMe. We're going to influencers. We're going to help get more funding for the human trial, for the organ rehabilitation human trial. We support iResearch, the young scientists.
Please give us information. I will put everything in.
I will definitely, yes. And we support iResearch, young scientists who just don't have the funds because, science education isn't funded anymore. And same with
education is expensive.
Education isn't funded anymore, right? So, and then young artists at Young Arts, supporting them so they can become artists and, bring other forms of beauty to the world that the world needs in order to find meaning in life, right? So that's our third, we call it whole beauty. It's just trying to expand and get the fiber of the beauty, out there. So those are the three things. So like the peptides, my sort of performance optimized formulation, and then the concept of expanding the meaning of beauty and trying to make it so that, unlike myself, who grew up feeling the only thing that mattered was who told me I look younger. Who told me I look younger for my age? That everything was tied to me for that, right? Finding love was tied to that. And now I want to make sure that other young people don't fall into that trap of thinking everything is about this.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Alec. So before we go, I have one more question for you.
Okay, yes.
How do you drink your coffee?
Oh, first of all, with a straw.
Okay, we never had that one.
Because I don't want to get my teeth because I pay too much to get them whitened.
Okay.
And then in the afternoon is iced.
Okay.
With some cinnamon in it. And then in the morning is hot, so I can just sort of wake up.
Very nice. Okay, so cheers with coffee.
Cheers.
Thank you so much for being here and for being so open about your story and your brand and encouraging people to go around your patent.
Exactly.
And to you guys, I will see you next week with more Coffee Number 5.
Find everything you need at larashmoisman.com or in the episode notes right below. Don't forget to subscribe.
It was so good to have you here today. See you next time. Catch you on the flip side. Ciao, ciao.